Hi, in this video, we're going to look at another feature of Meon where you can create calculator style apps. So if you've been following the videos in order from the beginning, you'll notice that we talked about simple content-based apps. We also looked at review apps, and now we're looking at another category of apps called, and we also looked at the quiz and auto grading kind of feature, apps which have auto grading in them. And now we're looking at another important feature, which is the ability to create calculator style apps. So, calculator is where you have specific kinds of calculations you want. It could be a financial calculation, it could be a simple unit conversion, it could be a fitness calculator, it could be a nutritional calculator. It could be, pretty much anything. So Meon uses a specific uh, feature, provides a specific feature which allows you to create apps of that nature. So we will create a very simple app first, and then we'll talk a little bit about what else you can do with this feature that's available. But the app we'll be creating is a simple app that takes a length in centimeters and or a length in inches and then converts it into centimeters. So we'll actually look at an example of a Meon app which does that, and we can see how it does that as well. All right, so that's really all. We'll not be going too deep into all the capabilities, but we'll talk a little bit more about it in the end. So let's first find this app. So we just looked in the previous video. We looked at the smartphone review app, the Great Smartphones app. So we'll go back to the same app again. And this app, if you remember, had the, so if I will just click this new smartphone to create a new smartphone item, and you'll notice that there is a field here where the user enters the size in inches, and there's a field here which says it's computed. It says the size in centimeters is computed. So that's this field is what we're interested in. How did it compute the value based on this field, right? So we'll look at that in just a minute. I'll just go back to the uh, Great Smartphones app. Now, the way in which this was created is very simple to see it, because we know that it's in one of the fields of the smartphone item. So let's click on the smartphone item to look the eye icon next to it, and we are now in the page which shows the smartphones, and we can look at the fields in here, and we see that there's all these different fields, but the two fields we care about are these two over here. So this one and this one, right? So there is a string field which holds the size in inches, and there's this could have been a numeric field as well, but I think I just left it a little more flexible because people might mistype it or whatever, but still we could get the value through. And this is an expression field type. So what does an expression field really do, and how does it work? So we'll look at that in a minute. We'll first look at the fact that this field is called size brackets inches. That's the name of this field, right? So it's just a simple string field where you enter the size in inches. But this name is important because this field, which is an expression field, is going to use that name to compute the value of this field. So you never actually enter a value for this size in centimeters, but you enter this and it automatically calculates it for this. And we can see how, so just note this name, the size space brackets inches close brackets, and we'll go and look at this field, the size in centimeters, and see how it has computed that. So this field is of type expression, and here's what it did. We know that centimeters, inches to centimeters conversion is basically multiplying by 2.54. So we use this formula which references a field in the same item, and it could reference a whole bunch of fields. So it could be a product of one field and another, or a sum, and we'll get to all that. But here in this particular instance, you just write the name of the field as it is and put a colon before it and a colon after it. So that's the way we know that you're actually referencing another field name. So you just put the name of another field, And what will happen is when the actual instance gets created, it will multiply the value of that field by 2.54. So this star is the multiplying operator usually used in most, in many places. And you have the value that you had to multiply by, which is 2.54. So by specifying this, the formula in the formula of the expression field type. So whenever you create a new field and you say you pick expression, it will allow you to enter a formula. You can reference any other fields by putting it between colons, by putting the name of that field in between colons, and you can use any formula to kind of compute something based on those values. Now, one thing to note about this, so we are using this very powerful tool which allows you to perform these calculations, and it provides a whole bunch of capabilities. So here you just have a simple multiplication and arithmetic going on. So you have all of the standard arithmetic functions, you have mathematical functions which range from logarithms to trigonometric functions to pretty much most math functions that you know out there. And you have logical functions, you have string functions. So logical functions are like and, or, not, and stuff like that. So these are logical operators. And then you also have string functions which allow you to find the length of a string, or to concatenate two strings. And then it has its own other functions, like you can say if something is greater than something else, then then set this value as something else, right? So you can do things like if, and there's a whole bunch of things you can do. Now unfortunately I don't have the full there's no place that I've really documented this behavior in full detail at this point. But for those of you who are really interested, we will have a little more documentation on how to create different kinds of formulas for expression fields. But for those of you who can't really wait, you can look at the library that we've used to create this feature. It's called Dentaku. It's Dentaku. Dentaku. So you can just go look it up. This is primarily for programmers. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer for others yet. But if you're already a programmer and are aware of how to look at libraries on GitHub, then you can go look up the page of Dentaku on GitHub, and you'll find a lot of explanation on the different types of functions that are available and so on. But soon we will have more documentation of this feature. All right, for now, that's the library that, and pretty much whatever Dentaku supports, we support. The only difference being that we have this way of marking our field names with colons. So you don't really have arbitrary values coming in. So you can't just have arbitrary variables and so on, but you can reference any field in between these colons, and then you can use all those functions that are there in that library I just mentioned in Dentaku. So that's really it for this video. I just wanted to let you know that there's this very, very powerful capability of creating all kinds of expressions. We've used it in more interesting ways in another app called, I think it's called PVFV Calculator. So if you go find that app, you'll see that in that app, you can actually calculate values by it's like a compound interest calculator. So you can specify the present value, the future value, rate of return, or number of cycles. So you can specify 3 out of these 4, and the 4th one will get computed. And it uses a few other features of Meon to kind of show and hide things appropriately, so that you're just seeing the right things that you want to see. So you can kind of explore this app and see and understand how it works a little more. But this is another example where we use the expression field type. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and do explore the expression field type and the apps which use it. Thank you.